Well, I can tell you that my contacts in Khartoum did not report any gunshots since the beginning of this ceasefire at 9:45 local time. But it's still very early to say that this ceasefire is currently implemented. And I can tell you that among the civilians I'm in touch with in Khartoum, many do not believe that it will hold. They say that the fighting has been so violent during the previous days, during the previous hours, that they do not believe that the army and the rapid support forces can stop fighting. They say that they heard many bombardments this afternoon, that they could see fighter jets in the sky flying over Khartoum, that the rapid support forces members are still hiding in civilian neighborhoods, looting houses, raping women, assaulting civilians. And in the meantime, the army was still bombing these civilian neighborhoods this afternoon. The army has bombed an hospital a few days ago where rapid support forces members were hiding. So even if they both signed a commitment to respect humanitarian principles 11 days ago, it seems that both the army and the rapid support forces are not trying to protect civilians at all for the moment. That's for the situation in Khartoum. But let's also mention the situation in Darfur, where it's a bit worse. During the past 3 days, the army and the rapid support forces have been fighting in the city center in Nyala, located in eastern Darfur. A very intense fighting, according to my contacts on the ground. And in the city of El Jenina, located a few kilometers from the border with Chad in West Darfur, the rapid support forces and local militias are still surrounding the cities. Have killed hundreds of people, civilians, during the past few days, according to local authorities. And since they're still surrounding the city, it's impossible for civilians to escape. So millions of people are still stranded in the most affected areas.
It sounds very much, Bastien, like in spite of the fact the truce has been signed and has been agreed to some 25 minutes ago, things are actually going from bad to worse. What is your sense of where the situation goes from here?
Well, to move forward, this ceasefire needs to hold. That's a first step, and it's going to be difficult. Many local sources tell me that they do not believe it can hold, but there is little hope. It's the first time that the rapid support forces and the military met in person to sign a ceasefire, and it's also the first time since the beginning of the war on the 15th of April that there is a joint mechanism to monitor the implementation of a ceasefire. It's led by the US and by Saudi Arabia. If it works, well, the negotiations will continue in Jeddah between the rapid support forces and the Sudanese militaries. Are still in Saudi Arabia at the moment, and they will negotiate for further ceasefire, for an extension of this ceasefire to bring more humanitarian assistance in Sudan. But they're not going to speak about a peace at the moment. Both the army and the rapid support forces already said several times that it's still too early to speak about peace. Both General Burhan and General Hemeti, the head of the army and of the rapid support forces, know that their power struggle is a question of life or death. They both think that they can win this war, and they know that the one who will win the war will have a chance to remain in power. So it's impossible at the moment to imagine that either the army or the rapid support forces will be willing to sign any peace agreement during the next days or during the next weeks. But first, let's wait and see if this first ceasefire will be implemented finally after 6 previous attempts.